Chase.
We're back with Coach Gruden. The NFL unveiled its 2014 regular season schedule this week. Let's talk a little bit about what to expect from the NFC this year. Should the reigning champion Seahawks be the favorite in the NFC?
Yes, they should.
Yeah.
They've got the best team, clearly, and a lot of it has been held together. They lost some pieces in their front, Red Bryant, Clements. They lost some depth inside up front on defense, but they're still together. Other than Tate, they're a good receiver.
I mean, to me, it's prohibitive favorite, right? I mean, how can you – what's the problem? I mean, other than a little depth loss, what's the problem here? Where's the Achilles heel?
I think they're clearly the favorite. I'd like to say that they're going to be better than they were a year ago.
So they got only one home game on the national stage, the opener, and then they have other ones away. But that'll be another chip on the shoulder for this team. Like, oh, you don't want to put us on TV because at home we destroy people.
Right. It's too loud.
Well, that's what I'm
saying. If you're a broadcaster, what's the point?
Yeah,
I mean, it's so loud at that place,
yeah.
And that's no joke. Put Seattle on your bucket list. If you haven't seen a game there, go there, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It is a great place to see a game.
Which brings us back to the 49ers. Nothing but offseason issues, one incident involving the quarterback, and multiple legal issues facing the best pass rusher. How do you rank them at this moment?
I'm worried about the 49ers because they've lost a lot of players. Two corners I thought were really good. Carlos Rogers, Terrell Brown went to the Raiders. Whitner was an excellent safety. He's gone. And Navarro Bowman, I think the best linebacker in the league, a terrible injury. God knows when he's going to be ready.
Yeah, we had him on. He said he's on schedule, but we'll see.
Alden Smith, you worry about Alden Smith. It's not the same team right now, and it's a tough division.
So who's even a threat to Seattle on that side of the bracket?
Perhaps the Washington Redskins.
I like it. I like it.
You know, we get RG3 going. Who knows?
Yeah.
You never know. No one sat here this time last year and said Seattle is going to beat Denver 50-8 or whatever it was in the Super Bowl. Nobody said that. So there's going to be a sleeper, a dark horse team out there somewhere. Could be Philadelphia. I love their offensive line. If they can add some pieces to their defense, they could be a real dark horse in the NFC to go a long way.
You know, I do like your brother's new team. I do think they have a shot. Obviously, they now have Deshaun Jackson. Obviously, the quarterback has to play this coming year the way he did 2 years ago. I thought he rushed back last year. He was a shell of himself. I'm a big fan of Robert Griffin III's. I think your brothers will do good things with him. Maybe be a pleasant change in personality from Mike Shanahan. No disrespect to Mike, but I think they were rubbing each other a little raw in the end, he and RG3. So it'll be a clearing of the air. It'll be a fresh start. I think the defense is pretty good. It's not great, but I think it'd be good enough that I think they got a shot to win that East. Your thought?
I think they have a shot. I mean, this process of installing an offense, getting a quarterback who's accustomed to running all over the place, he's like Johnny Manziel in a certain degree now, Skip. Let's try to keep him in the pocket where he can survive, get in some rhythm, utilize his receiving core. And for that to happen, it's going to take some time in the offseason program. Their offensive line needs to play better. They have to find a running back, obviously, that can get involved in the passing game, not just the running game. There's some components on defense I'm sure they need to fix, but you gotta be honest, they have as good a chance as anybody in that division.
What do you expect from RG3 next year? Do you
the way
expect
he
2
works,
years ago?
You know, for the fans out there that don't know, there's not many players that work harder than RG3. I love that about him. 6 a.m., 5:30 a.m., I'll be here, Coach. He'll stay as long as he has to stay to get it right. So I have to believe he'll be on a fast track. I think he's really motivated to prove to everybody that he can do whatever you ask him to do. I think he's got a chance to be one of the comeback stories of the year. I'd be very shocked if he isn't.
And what's the biggest challenge facing your brother as a head coach in this league? Now, he's been a very successful head coach in the smaller league, the Arena League. But what will be in D.C., in the NFC East, the NFL, his biggest challenge?
I think the challenge for him is the same one for all these coaches. There's a new CBA. You have to really manage your time extremely well. When we have an hour to meet, let's have the best meeting in the NFL. When we have a blitz pickup period, 12 plays is all we have time for, let's pick up all 12 blitzes. Let's make sure we hire the best coaches. Let's make sure we do a good job of drafting and developing players. And let's take some chances on a Deshaun Jackson. Let's take some chances on some free agents and see if we can get more out of them than their previous team did.
You mentioned the Eagles. What do you expect from them? Another level up from last year?
I sure do. I think the addition of Sproles gives Chip Kelly some real imagination, and that's not what Chip Kelly lacks. He has a tremendous imagination offensively. We know that. Year 2 of Bill Davis's system on defense, this 34 defense, they'll be better because they'll be drafting and acquiring players to fit that scheme. Philadelphia could be a real good team early in the season.
I'm not completely sold on Foles. Your thought?
We had him in the Gruden's QB camp.
Yeah.
It's an episode we'll get you to. You can check it out. But 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
I mean, it's
the turnover ratio,
stunning.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
I don't know if that's ever been done in history. So there's a lot to like. He's a lot more athletic than people think. He's huge, so he can take a hit. And I just think he's got a big upside. Philadelphia is set at quarterback for a while.
Eli Manning, for the 3rd time in his career, led the NFL in interceptions last year. Now he's had a little off-season cleanup surgery in his ankle. What do you expect from him next year?
I think Eli got a wake-up call. I think he got his eyes opened. A lot of those interceptions, if you sat down and watched them, there were 7 or 8 of them where the receiver and the quarterback aren't on the same page. Eli's throwing the ball here, the receiver's running there. It was very frustrating. So they've tightened things up, I think, around him. They've added some offensive linemen. They're clearly putting together a new receiving core and a new offense with Coach McAdoo coming in from Green Bay. I think it'll stimulate Eli. Sometimes these veteran quarterbacks, change is good, and a lot change is even better. And I think that's going to bring out the best in Eli.
So you're saying the New York Football Giants could be the sleeper in the East this year?
Top 10 defense last year. Nobody knows that.
Yeah.
And Eli Manning's been to the big game and won it twice. If they can stay healthy, they've been decimated.
Yeah.
They really have, especially on their offensive line. They haven't been able to run the football, which is a huge part of Tom Coughlin's background. They can start putting these pieces back together around Eli Manning. They'll be fine.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you the toughest question I've asked all day. Will you convince me to climb back on the Cowboy bandwagon next year?
I won't convince you.
Thanks a lot.
The quarterback has physical issues.
He's got big issues.
He's 34 years old, and he's got physical issues. A back is a back, and that's a daunting issue to overcome. I do like their offensive line. I love Tyron Smith at left tackle.
I do too.
Fredericks, and this offensive line played extremely well. They have no balance really in their offense. They rarely run it, although they do have a good runner. And defensively, they've got to hit the lottery in the draft. They got to find 3 or 4 starters. Not just starters, Skip. They got to find 3 or 4 guys that can start and play well every Sunday.
Although our Ed Werder has reported that if somehow, some way, Johnny Football falls all the way to 16, that Jerry Jones would say, thank you very much.
If Johnny Football falls to 16, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll have to tell you guys off the air or something.
Okay, thank you. So to sum this up, how would you rank the NFC East right now?
You know, I have to wait until after the draft. But if we're talking right now, I go with the defending champions, the Eagles. It's as clear as day to me. They have too good of an offensive line, and their quarterback play was the most consistent last year. And then after that, it's a crapshoot.
I would put your brother's new team number 2 right now.
But you know,
the Giants.
I hate that preseason prognostics.
Too far to go?
It's too many syllables. I never got into that stuff. Let's go to training camp. You're going to get what you deserve, all of you. So let's have a good draft, a good off-season program. Let's make sure our off-season acquisitions are ready to roll. And let's stay healthy.
Sounds like everyone might have a shot except for your Dallas Cowboys.
You know what? I agree, unfortunately, with that. I'm done. I am. I'm done. I'm out.
John's setting up camp here, and we dig it. John weighs in on Peyton Manning and the AFC next, so stay with us.